Police Minister Peter Ryan talked in the papers today about an era gone by. Simon Overland last week resigned as Chief Commissioner. We're now looking for the 21st Chief Commissioner. Weekend papers talked about former Assistant Commissioner Gary Jamieson, who joins us in the studio. Gary, thanks for chatting to us.
Good morning.
Gary, how does the command tree need to look from now on? First of all, do you believe it is the end of an era? An end of a way of doing things?
Look, I would hope that there's enough comment around the state of Victoria that people really want to go back to a model of policing that they know and understand. They want it to be simple, they want it to be functional, they want it to be efficient, but mostly they want police back on the beat, back on their streets, in their shopping centres and around their houses.
Okay, so that will be a plank that you will take effectively when you do your job interview for the Chief Commissioner. In practical terms, how are you going to make that work?
It's about getting the right team at the top. It's about getting a dedicated, talented, loyal team that understand state policing, that understand what the public of Victoria wants. Their wants and needs aren't complex. Their wants and needs are about safety, security, and they want to be reassured by their police force.
Okay, let's not muck around. You're talking about local people then. We've had the experiment with out-of-towners, and you don't think it's worked?
I think that we've got enough talent within Victoria Police. We've had a absolutely wonderful history right through. Police forces have hiccups from time to time, but there's no shortage of talent within Victoria. And whether it's me or anyone else, they must appoint a Victorian policeman.
Things that I've heard is that under Christine Nixon and more so under Simon Overland, that talent wasn't being cultivated. People weren't being brought through the right way to succeed, to grow. Did you see that? Did you feel that when you were an Assistant Commissioner?
I think the facts speak for themselves. That we go back to Tom Hafey, Alan Jeans, Kevin Sheedy. They all produced the next era of coaches. And so when I say, well, what's happened with Victoria Police? Where is all our talent? And there's been talent, they're nowhere.
Okay, you've been very public in your ambitions. Do you think that will work against you?
Look, it possibly could, but this isn't about me. This is about Victoria Police and the Victoria public, and about trying to get a policing model that people understand and they respect.
But it is about you if you're putting your hand up to say, I want to be Chief Commissioner and I'm the best man for the job.
Yeah, someone has to put up their hand, and I think because my history would tell you that I produce talented people, I think that I can put the best team together at this time.
But Gary, it's not an election. I suppose what we saw in the Herald Sun on the weekend, you would have thought is more akin to a politician campaigning. And that's what we want to try and get away from.
Yeah, exactly right. Look, the article in the Herald Sun over the weekend, I think, was most unfortunate because it just portrays me and what I believe in as just the wrong way. And what I believe in is about Victoria Police. What I believe in is about a police force that the public love, and I've experienced it myself. I've seen it in the past, and that's what we've got to get back to.
Was Simon Overland left with little choice but to resign when you see how it all played out particularly with the Ombudsman's report into crime statistics, the way those figures were used before the election? Do you believe that those figures were fudged and used for the wrong reasons, for political reasons?
Look, I'm not here really to comment on what happened with Simon, and I was as surprised as anyone when he resigned. Simon is an honourable man. He was a good man, but he's gone now, and it's about the future.
But Gary, we're going to make sure that we don't find ourselves in this same situation another few years down the track. What could have happened? Let me rephrase it then. What could Simon Overland have done that would have been better for to keep the police at arm's length from politics, and to keep the statistics true and accurate for people?
It's about what your approach is as the Chief Commissioner, and I can only talk about myself, and that is, this is about steady as she goes, policing. It's
Would you have put out statistics like that?
Look, statistics always have to be put out. Whether I'd do it that way, most probably I wouldn't. But there are police statistics have to go out.
There's been a lot of criticism about the way the police command has turned into. I think I heard someone describe it as Police Inc., which is Police Incorporated, where it's far more like a corporation where they need to constantly sell themselves, and the spin doctors are constantly at work. Would you change that structure?
Absolutely. There's a tradition and there's a history. There is custom and practice which has grown up through 150 years of policing in Victoria, which gave us a wonderful model. People remember back to Mick Miller and they say, gosh, wasn't he a great Chief Commissioner? And I would absolutely agree with him. Well, what was wrong with Mick Miller's model? Why can't we get that back? It's just as relevant today as it was back then. And interestingly, other police jurisdictions still have the Mick Miller model.
Okay, now, politicians will always, particularly when law and order is a political issue, and it's such a big political issue at the moment, they will always try and interfere. Are you strong enough, and can you envisage putting something in place which puts a clear division between the politicians and the Chief Commissioner?
I think if you understand what your role is, and that's about delivering operational services to the public of Victoria, if you understand clearly that you're the chief policeman, you're not the chief politician, then it becomes very clear. But, there does have to be some clarity sorted out with the government so that there isn't any blurring.
Okay, John Sylvester's idea then of a Charter of Independence, do you think that's appropriate?
Absolutely. It's not the first time I've heard of it, but I think it's absolutely critically important.
So you would campaign for that if you got the gig?
It would be something I would try and influence, and I think that it's good for both, the Police Minister and the Police Commissioner.